registration for candidates for the 2026 examination. This is underway for the 3 examinations that the Uganda National Examinations Board administers in accordance with the UNEB Acts, Act 259, the laws of Uganda. We have recently concluded the validation of a number of new schools that had applied to be recognized as new examination centers, and also schools that had applied to have the capacities assigned to them expanded. And that exercise has just concluded, and therefore we are announcing the extension of registration period from 31st of May, the normal registration, from 31st of May to 30th of June. And this applies to all schools, whether they are old or the new schools. However, I would like to urge schools, the old schools that are already centers, not to relax. We have in this country the deadline syndrome, where people want to wait until the deadline before they take action. However, we are pleased to note that as we approach the initial deadline, we have done quite a bit already. Out of the expected 880,000 PLE candidates, we have so far by this morning registered 673,992, which is about 77%, which is a very good turnout. For the UCE, we expect to register close to 500,000 this year. We have already passed the 50% mark. We have registered 299,483 candidates. And USCE, we expect this year to register about 180,000. We have already registered 109,718. So to us, this is a very, very good progress. After June 30th, we shall have another 1 month up to the end of July for what we call the late registration period. During that late registration period, there will be a surcharge levied on those that will not have abided by the deadline of 50% for UCE and the UACE. But for primary, that surcharge will be 100%. It sounds much, but because primary, the examination fees is quite low, so 100% is not a very significant figure. But we would like to encourage all centers to ensure that we take advantage of this extension that the board has given, so as not to bother parents paying this registration, this late charge. The registration fees, the government will continue to pay fees for those candidates that are on the Universal Education Program. The UPE for primary, all schools that are under UPE will have their fees paid by government. USE for UCE, those will also have their fees paid by government, and the UPLET for USCE. The others will pay, and the fees have not been changed, and I would like to announce the fees. For primary living examination, the fee remains 34,000 per candidate. For the Uganda Certificate of Education, the fee remains at 164,000. And for USCE, the fee remains at 186,000. Before the registration of candidates, we would like to encourage parents and the head teachers to agree on the particulars of the candidates who are to be registered. These include the names and the order in which those names should appear on the registration, and ultimately that information will be what will appear on the results slip as well as the certificate. We have had challenges in the past where after registration has been done, and sometimes even the candidates have sat the examination, then you find a parent who shows up and says, my child was growing with the mother, now I have brought him or her back to the clan, we want to give him the clan name. So these kind of things must be done before registration, because trying to do that after is a very messy affair. The requirements for the UCE examinations, I want to note that this year we are registering the third cohort of our learners under the competency-based curriculum. And this curriculum requires that candidates register for a minimum of 8 subjects and a maximum of 9 subjects. Continuous assessment scores for these subjects offered, as well as the project scores, will be a requirement for certification. And so, schools must register candidates who have CA scores from Senior 3. Any candidate who does not have continuous assessment scores for Senior 3, even when they sit the examination, they will not be eligible for certification. Any candidate who has no project scores, even when they register for the examination, they will not be eligible for certification. UCE repeaters. Just before that, I should also note that the candidates whose CA scores have been submitted already should make sure they do not change their names. Neither should they drop the subjects that they have already been registered for at Senior 3. This is extremely important, because failure to do that will cause a lot of distortion in their results and certification. Those UCE candidates who may wish to repeat the examination, we must make sure that they have complete scores for Senior 3, for CA, as well as Senior 4, because we now exempt them. We use the scores that we already have in the system. For UACE, this year, the candidates are the pioneers of the CBC, those that sat the competency-based examination for the first time, the first cohort in 2024. This year, they are now sitting the UACE. They are going to be assessed under the aligned curriculum. I'm sure you must have had earlier pronouncements from National Curriculum Development Center that the UCE curriculum, although not completely changed the way that the UCE one has been done, has been abridged, has been aligned rather, to ensure that the cohort that is sitting now does not find a very strange environment in as far as the examination is concerned. And the assessment also has been aligned to rhyme with the UCE, so that the questions or the tasks that candidates are going to have are based on scenarios like the UCE examination paper. We expect only candidates who have passed the UCE, either in grade 1, 2, or 3 for the old curriculum, and those that have result 1, those are the ones that should register for UACE, because those are the ones that have passed. And we expect that the UACE candidates would have pursued this course for at least 2 years. before they come for registration. There may be those that wish to repeat the UACE examination. They did it in 2025, but the results are not what they wish to have. And so they can repeat. We have established in consultation with the National Curriculum Development Center that the content framework for the aligned curriculum that they are doing has not been changed. And therefore, those who sat in 2025 or before and wish to repeat can do so without the need for a special examination, which the board conducted in 2024. So